Welcome to the Business Growth Accelerator Show. Thank you so much for joining. Our primary goal here is to help you as an entrepreneur to grow your business fast with as little resources possible. We talk about everything from smart digital marketing skills and business strategy to motivation and soft skills. Top interviews with industry leaders to inspire and give you the skills to grow your business. I'm your host, Pierre Muller. Now let's jump in. Hello, everyone. Our special guest today is Gideon Shalwick. I heard Gideon the first time on the Entrepreneurs on Fire show, and I was just really inspired by his story and his expertise around video marketing. I'm just so excited to have him here today to share his knowledge and to share his expertise with us as an audience. Gideon, thank you so much for being here. We're really delighted to have you. Maybe to kick us off, Gideon, please fill us in. I mean, what was sort of your entrepreneurial path that really led up to where you are now? You're involved with Splashio. Just tell us a little bit more about yourself and really the path that led up to what you're doing today.
Yeah, sure thing. And first of all, thank you for being on the call and being willing to ask me about my past. So I've been an entrepreneur now for about 14 years, and it's interesting. It's been 14 years now, and it only feels like I'm finally getting to my stride now, after 14 years. But there's been many ups and downs, that's for sure. I've had lots of successes, but I've also had lots of failures. And so it's certainly not a straight path, that's for sure. But, it all started for me when I was back in New Zealand. So we immigrated from South Africa to New Zealand, right? So back in 1994. Went through the whole schooling system, got a degree, an engineering master's degree in management, and then I started working. And when I started working, it was like, wait a minute, this is not what I thought it would be. This is not the bed of roses that they were promising. And it really sucked. It was very stressful. I was just the little dude in the office who had this great degree, but a chip on the shoulder that everybody hated, and no experience. And so it made for a very stressful time. Anyway, I stuck at it for 5 years, and then I couldn't deal with it anymore. Basically, it was just too much. Like I was thinking, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. And I thought, well, why don't we just start a business? So I told my wife, let's quit our jobs in New Zealand. Let's just quit our jobs and move to Australia, start fresh, start a business. And she was keen. And she said, okay, well, why don't you apply for jobs? And then once you get a job, that's our ticket into Australia, and then soft landing, just so that we have something, so we don't get there with our hands empty. Anyway, I started applying for jobs. 3 months later, I had 0 responses from anybody in Australia. Well, I had some responses, but no one that was favorable. And so I looked at my wife and said, look, it's not working. And so she said, let's, why don't you try? So she was an architectural draftsperson at the time. So she applied for a few jobs in Australia, in Brisbane. And within a week, she had 3 job offers. She flew I think she sent it on Monday. On the Friday, she flew over from Christchurch to Brisbane, and she got 3 job offers, and everyone, all 3 of them said, yes, come and work for us. And so she was our ticket into Australia, and so she's just been amazing. Anyway, a month later, we landed in Australia. I was jobless; no one wanted to employ me, which is totally fair enough, and I'm really glad they didn't. And my wife started working, and she was paying the bills. We landed in Australia with nothing. We had our bags, our suitcases with us. We had to start off with, and then on the ship we brought over our bed eventually and our computer. That was pretty much it. So it's 0 furniture. For the first few weeks, first little while, we slept on a mattress just on the floor. We had literally nothing when we arrived there. We weren't paupers, my wife was earning a good salary, but we still had nothing. And then eventually we started buying furniture and things like that. We didn't have a car for the first 2 years. We just took the train everywhere and walked everywhere. Brisbane was so nice for that. And in the meantime, I started the business, and I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And so I got an invitation to go to this course. It was like a personal development sort of course where they taught us, one of the things they taught us was how to write a book, to sell the book as a product and to use that to help grow your business. So while I was at the event, I got this idea for a book, and then I wrote the book. I got someone to help me to promoted it. This thing went, it was an ebook back then, it's 2006, 2007, around about there. And this thing got distributed all over the world, got distributed to
Mm.
77 different countries. And it was fantastic. Like I remember sending the first few emails and then waking up the next morning. It was a Saturday morning. I woke up after our first promotion. Woke up, checked my emails, like sale. And I go, wow, what's happening? And that was amazing. So that's within the first 6 months. And then what happened then? This first promotion that I had was from the person who taught me how to do it, right? So he had a list, an email database of 10,000 people. So he promoted for me, he got a cut, and we made a ton of sales. But then, of course, I did not have any idea of how to build sustainable traffic to a site and how to even run a proper business. Like having a book is not a business, right? Anyway, so ran out of traffic, ran out of money, and sales and money, and basically, cut a long story short, it took me about 2 more years to figure out the game, to figure out what it is, how to get success, through a business, and it was an online business at that time already. And I started interviewing some people in the industry. I wanted to find out how the heck they became successful, and got very much similar to this sort of interview. I did everything on video as well. Back then, video was very new. Everybody was doing audio interviews. I was one of the first people to do interviews on video, which was cool, but it was also a big mistake because the technology just wasn't properly set up back then for that.
Okay.
So that was one of my first big successes. I spent probably 6 months on that project. It was going to be a big membership site where people could watch the videos and pay a fee, a monthly fee. I was going to write a book about it. I had all these dreams, and then it all just became too much. It became too much for me. It became too much for my computer. My computer died because the files were too big, and and that little business never even saw the light of day. Other than having a domain name, it didn't have anything else. And luckily, though, one of the people that I interviewed was a guy called Yaro Stark, and he ran a blog called Entrepreneur's Journey, and now it's just called his name, Yaro.com, I think it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I interviewed him. He happened to live in Brisbane. We became friends. He came over to my house. Had a green screen, everything set up. I was really good with the video stuff, and he was really impressed with all that. And then eventually, he said, why don't you, I've got this blogging thing going. People need to learn how to blog. Can you create like 10 videos to just teach people how to blog, how to set up their blogs? And I said, yes, I'm game. So he paid me for that. And then these videos just kind of went viral back in the day. We published it on blip.tv, went kind of viral. And by viral, I mean 300,000 views for our 10 videos, which was a lot back then for something like that.
Yeah, totally.
And we thought, hey, there's something here. So Yara and I decided to create a business together. We called it Become a Blogger. It's still running, becomeablogger.com. Someone else runs it now. And teaching people how to set up a blog and use it for promoting their businesses. So this is around about 2008, around about there. 2008. Yeah, 2008. And that was amazing because with the launch of that business, took me 6 months to get ready for that, but it took 6 months of working for nothing, right? 6 months, we sent the first few emails. Within the first week, we had 10,000 people on our email database. Within the first month, if I remember right, we had about $23,000 coming in per month. Now, put that in context, for the previous 2 years, I had nothing, or it was negative.
Yeah.
My income was negative. And then being able to have $23,000 coming in for the business every month, that was incredible. So that was my first big success. But the journey up until that point was definitely not easy. It was fun a lot of times. It was incredibly frustrating sometimes, but really interesting enough. I figured out how to learn myself. I figured out how to get rid of all the previous conditioning that I had throughout all the years of the education system, the schooling system, the whatever system, and I dropped out of it. I completely dropped out of it. And found myself in a way to be able to go on the rest of the journey. And now many years later, I've got a company called Splasheocom. We help people get their videos ready for social media. So people want to get their voice out there and be heard and be seen. We take that video production process for getting it ready for social media completely off their hands. All you got to do is submit your video to our service, and our team will get it. Put a headline on it. transcribe it and burn the text in as captions into your video, add a video progress bar, call to action, all these things, just getting it perfect and ready for social media to help it be as engaging as possible. And so I've been doing that. This latest business that's been running since 2012, but pivoted about 2.5 years ago to what it is today.
Wow. Sure. What a story. Gideon, yeah, thanks. Well, thanks for sharing that. I mean, thanks for being vulnerable and sharing your story, and just all the ups and downs, because it's definitely not a straight curve upwards, right? So I really appreciate how you sort of went through the ups and downs and just kept pushing, sort of redesigning yourself. And I think there's some great nuggets and some great lessons, in there for our audience. So thanks a lot for sharing that. We're going to touch on Splashy a bit later as well, but maybe let's talk about sort of the current economic environment and helping entrepreneurs. And it's obviously been a tough year for entrepreneurs, due to lockdowns around the world, and cash flow might be tight at the moment. So if you're a business owner right now, and I know it's different because you get different industries and different business, so the answer is not the same for everyone. But if you're sort of a business owner in this position right now, what would you focus on to get business growing again in this environment?
Well, I think if you're struggling, because of the current climate with COVID and job losses and industries just being destroyed, certain industries at least, others are booming, of course. But if you're struggling, I think one of the key lessons I've learned in the past is to move or shift the focus away from yourself onto others, and to ask the question, what are other people struggling with? What are people complaining about in particular? And if it's in an industry that you have knowledge and understanding and experience in, that's definitely a bonus. It's not a requirement, but it's definitely a bonus. It'll definitely help you. So if you can look into that industry, or in the least an industry that you have an interest in, you have to have, I think it really helps if you have an interest, and if you're interested and passionate about a certain topic or industry. If you can go into that industry and listen, talk to people, talk to people who you might think could become ideal clients. I mean, you might not even know who could be new ideal clients, but just go in there and listen for what people are complaining about. Because with every big change, like we've seen, there's always opportunity. There's always new opportunity. I mean, you look at, a recent example like Bitcoin or Tesla. Look at those companies. They are just booming. They're going crazy. And while there's other industries that are just dying, like the travel industry and tourism. So there's always opportunity when there's big challenges and big changes. And the way to find those opportunities, I believe, is to listen for problems and issues that people are having. And normally it comes through people complaining. They're complaining about stuff. Yeah. Oh, I can't travel right now. Or, I can't breathe properly with these stupid masks. Or, whatever it is, people love complaining. So the more intensely people complain, and the more of those people who are complaining at the same time, the bigger the opportunity. Because that's what we do as entrepreneurs. We solve problems. We come in there, look for the pain points that people are having, create a solution, and then sell it to people, for a profit. That's what we do. We make the world a better place. That's exactly what we do. Yeah. So if you're struggling, look for where everyone else is struggling, complaining, and turn that into an opportunity.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So opportunities are everywhere, and it's so easy to sort of get stuck in a bit of a victim, mentality. But as you say, it's there's so many opportunities out there. We just need to keep our ears open, listen, and start solving those problems and adding value to the world. And then might be a very exciting new business change or pivot that what can undergo, into the future. And if we sort of flip it on the other side, again, back to your experience and how you've grown, what do you think are some of the biggest pitfalls that entrepreneurs fall in when it comes to growing their business? Again, there can be numerous, but again, based on your experience and what you typically see, what are sort of those biggest pitfalls entrepreneurs typically fall in that we need to avoid when it comes to business growth?
Oh gosh, there are so many, and it's hard to sort of give anyone more value than others. But the first thought that came to mind when you asked that question was a really inspirational conversation I had with one of my very first mentors. I'm calling him my mentor. He wasn't officially my mentor, but I was working in his company in New Zealand. He had the largest privately owned company in New Zealand. So I worked, it was called Tate Electronics. Angus Tate, Sir Angus Tate, he is the founder. And I was lucky enough to have a couple of meetings with him where I could speak to him in person. And I asked him that sort of same question: what sort of things should you be watching out for as an entrepreneur? Because I was thinking about becoming an entrepreneur back then already. And he said, one of the biggest issues or mistakes new entrepreneurs make in particular is that they set their goals too big and too high. Now, this flies directly in the face of, the wisdom like from Jim Collins, for example, who talks about setting big, hairy, audacious goals, right? The BHAGs.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's probably fine if you're a big company, a big corporate, you got lots of resources and you can sort of get there and you want to stretch yourself. No problem. But what if you're just starting out and you've got nothing, and you don't know where the next money is going to come from to pay for your rent or to pay your employees or whatever. Maybe you're struggling like that. What do you do then? Is it healthy to set a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal? Because what happens often, because you don't have the momentum, because you don't have the leverage, and you set these big goals, and more often than not, you don't reach them. And what happens to your psychology when that happens? Does that give you more confidence? Yeah, it's discouraging, right? Does it give you more confidence or less confidence when that happens? Less confidence, right?
Yeah, totally.
So you end up with less confidence, and then you do it again the next year, set another big goal, and then don't meet it, and then your confidence drops again. And so you go into the spiral of never actually meeting your goals, never reaching it, and always feeling like you're a loser, like you're a failure, and never building the confidence that you need. And I can tell you one thing you need for success in business is confidence. And you build confidence through successes, sequential successes over time. It's not one big success and then you're confident. No, it doesn't work like that. It is like one little success after another that you build to build that confidence over time. And if you set your goals too far ahead, you never reach it, it becomes really difficult to build that confidence. So I think that's something that's really important to think about. I mean, there's nothing like one good thing, like Tony Robbins would talk about this, is if you do set a really big goal, even though you don't reach it, you might have gotten halfway there or maybe 2/3, and you still would have done more than if you didn't set that goal. So there's wisdom in that for sure. But I think there's a balance. There's a balance. I think it's maybe a way to look at it is to look at those big, hairy, audacious goals as the horizon. The horizon. You never quite actually meet the horizon when you're traveling, right? It's always over there that you're moving towards, and it always kind of changes, always out of reach, and that's fine. And that's what you're working towards. But it's not necessarily a smart goal. What is it called? Specific, measurable, whatever. All those, I can't remember all those things, that's maybe like those big, hairy, audacious things for the way in the distance, but then closer. Like, what are you going to achieve this week? What are you going to achieve today? Or in this next hour? How do you measure that? And to help you build confidence as you go. So you want to get those wins, and you want to get as many wins as possible in your first few years to help you build that confidence for sure.
Yeah,
that's just one thing.
Yeah. I can imagine there's so many, but I mean, I love that because it's as you say, it can be so discouraging to have these massive 10x type of goals, and then we don't meet them, and we feel like, oh, what's wrong with us? We're the only. It makes me think of, I'm not sure what size of our audience knows the game of cricket, but it's big, in my country. And it's sort of the idea of scoring some singles and scoring sort of 2 runs here and 3 runs here. You're not going to, hit a 6 on every ball, but those sort of 1s and 2s build the momentum. It gives you confidence, as you say, Gideon, and that's really what keeps us going. And then when you strike that 6, it's fantastic. There's sort of another quote that comes to mind that I think we often overestimate what we can do in 1 year, but we underestimate what we can do in 5 years. And I guess it sort of talks to the same thing, where if we can just keep going, have those shorter term goals, just keep pushing. When we look back after 5 years, we might be pleased with the result.
Absolutely. And one thing that just reminded me of as well is that that's related to this is the difference between a goal and the process of getting there. And the thing is, I think it's more important for you to enjoy the process, to figure out a way to enjoy the process of getting there than being excited about the goal. It's good to be excited, but the thing is, goals don't make you happy. even reaching goals don't make you happy. It doesn't make you feel fulfilled. It maybe gives you a bit of a kick, for maybe a week at the most, and then you go, what's next? What's next? It never gives you that fulfillment. Whereas if you can figure out a way to serve people, and in the process of doing it, it gives you energy and makes you feel good, that is ideal. And I see a lot of, I've done this myself, where you set this really amazing goal, right? And then you work your ass off towards that goal, and it's terrible. It's like hell on earth. You hate it, but if you get that goal, you're gonna be happy. One day you work and work and work. Finally, you get the goal. You spend 3 years, 5 years of your life being miserable. Then you reach the goal and you go, was this really worth it? It's like, now what?
Yes.
So I think there's that's the other thing to think about, is that the process of getting there is really, really important, and you've got to enjoy the process. Otherwise, what's the point? Because that's your life. Your life is made out of those little moments every day, which is part of the process. You've got to make sure you enjoy those. And in fact, if you don't enjoy it, your chance of success is going to be much lower as well. And if you do enjoy it, that's going to give you more energy. It's going to drive your passion. It's what's going to get you out of bed in the morning. It's what's going to help you when there's setbacks to help you keep going. You got to figure out a way to enjoy the process, for sure.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Because I think as entrepreneurs, we set ourselves goals, we run there, we chase with everything we've got. And then when we get there, we sort of celebrate for 2 minutes, and then we push on to the next one. And then if we sort of just keep stuck in this rut, as you say, we're not enjoying the journey, we're not enjoying the ride, or just, life around us. So I think that's key advice. Thanks for that. Gideon,
there's one more thing that I think is really important, that I only started understanding this relatively recent in my career, because the whole goal thing is pretty much an ego-driven thing. If you really analyze it, why would you want to set a goal in any case? Who does it actually make happy? What kind of benefit to the world are goals? In any case. So it's very, if you think about it, it's very likely an ego-driven thing. And whenever you pursue anything that's based on the ego, there's never really fulfillment. You can never get what you're searching for. It's always a search, and it's always a run towards that thing, that end goal that you never get, right? And it's because it's ego-based. So, and for us entrepreneurs in particular, because, and this is what a lot of people don't realize, for entrepreneurs, very often our internal unconscious drive is the search for significance. The search for worth and for self-worth. And we do everything, all our decisions are tainted by this unconscious drive and search for significance. And so we set these goals because we think, once we set this goal, we will be accepted. We will feel worthy. We will think that we are now accepted by society, or by our parents, or by your dad, or by your husband or wife, whatever your case might be. That's a big thing that's tied into entrepreneurship. And the trouble with that is, if you base your journey on something that you can never get, that's the problem. You can never get it. You always chase for it, and you can never ever get it. And it's only when you realize that the thing that you've been chasing for your entire life, when you figure out that's the thing that you're supposed to be giving away, that's when your life starts changing. So that's a cool little thing that I discovered recently, and it relates to this end goal process thing. So the process thing is all about serving and making the world a better place through serving, making people's lives better through using your gifts and talents. And the goal thing, it's really ego-based. So it's good there for keeping score, I reckon, but ultimately, does it make you happy? So you got to ask that question yourself.
Yeah, sure. That's fantastic. It feels like we should have, some moment of silence just for that to sort of seep in. But I agree with you. It's fundamental. And I guess when we change the focus from ourselves and our goals and our egos to wanting to serve the world and solve problems, as you said, and really help, it's not about making money. It's really about solving problems, taking away the pain of clients. And then I think there's deeper fulfillment on that side. So
Yeah.
thanks for that.
It's good to make money. I mean, that's the thing. It's money is not the goal, though. That's the thing. Money is very important. You gotta you can't be a successful entrepreneur without money, because you got to pay for stuff. And money is just a transfer of energy. That's all it is. I have this pool of money. I use it to buy people's time and energy to do stuff for me. See, that's the way I'm looking at money. So it's really critical that you figure out how to use money and get money, because without it, your influence, your impact is going to be really limited.
Yeah. So fantastic value. Thanks, Gideon. I really love that. Let's change direction a little bit. I want to tap into all areas of your sort of expertise and the great advice you can give, and our time is limited. So let's just jump into video marketing for a moment. So when it comes to video marketing, I mean, you've obviously seen quite a few, and I guess the question is what makes a video marketing campaign effective? And again, I guess it's sort of a broad question, but I mean, there's obviously anything from putting out valuable content about your clients' pain points, about your solutions. Then you have also very entertaining, your fast-moving, videos with lots of clever editing and so on. So just again, in your experience, and for entrepreneurs who sort of wanting to push out more video out there, what do you find makes for a great video and really a great video marketing campaign?
Okay, so that question is impossible to answer unless you know and understand the purpose behind any particular video. It's like, so what is the question here? Like, what is the purpose of any particular video? So for example, if the purpose of the video is to make a sale, that's a very different kind of video, say, to a video that's the purpose of it is to build a relationship or to share information. Very, very different. So you'd measure their success very differently as well. And that they have very different structures, very different kinds of content, very different ways that you produce them as well. So it really depends on the outcome that you're looking for and the purpose of any particular video. And there are so many different ways of using video in general to grow your business. So let's look at a few of those to give you some context. So if you look at a business as a funnel, right? So you've got the outer edges or the upper area where you're trying to pull in, prospects and get people interested in your business, or in your topic at least. Then further down, you might have like a lead magnet or something like that, or something that engages your audience somehow. They've got to make some kind of a commitment. So other than just watching your content, they've got to make some kind of a commitment to, give you their email address or subscribe to your channel or whatever it is. There's some sort of a commitment that they've got to give back. Then further down, there's more and more commitment. So the next one might be they've got to give you their email address, or they might give you their credit card details for a free trial, or further down, they've got to make a payment to move on to the next stage. So for each of those different stages in the business funnel, you use different content, you different kind of videos. And it's really important to understand the purpose of each of the videos in that within the business funnel. So for example, the kind of videos you might have right at the top of the funnel that's quite far away from anybody making a transaction is all about relationship building. Really, it's about building, getting people to know, like, and trust you. That's what that upper level is about. And so if you think about that, it's not to convert yet. The only point of these videos is to get people to notice, and to go, hey, there's Pierre, or there's Gideon, hey, they're talking my language. They're talking about a topic that I'm interested in. Let's tune in and let's find out more. Let's get to know this person and engage more. Then further down, it becomes more important to start calling people to action, and then the structure of your content changes. I mean, so a typical sales video might be using a structure like the AIDCA structure. So A is for attention, I is for interest, D is for desire, C is for conviction, and then the last A is for action. So attention, interest, desire, conviction, action. So that forms the structure of your video. And you can have a 1-minute video using that structure where you talk about, you grab their attention, you pull them in through a story or something to get their interest or intrigue. I stands for both interest or intrigue. And then you start talking about the solution that you can provide for the problem and the pain point that they have. That's often your product or your service you talk about. Conviction is all about proof and testimonials and case studies and endorsements and that sort of thing. Proof that what you're saying is true and that your product or service can get the job done. And then finally, a call to action where you just tell people what to do. Click the button, sign up here, give me your credit card details, sign up for the email, whatever it is. That structure works really, really well for convincing people to take action. And then from there, once people are inside your business ecosystem, then it changes again. Then it's more about relationship post the sale. How should you welcome someone into your business once they've made a transaction? Do you sort of take their money and run, or or let them be on their own, or do you maybe have a welcoming sort of video or video sequence there that takes them through a process, or welcomes them in, or gives them more information to help them throughout the process? And maybe there's other kind of video content even further to help your audience turn into evangelists. That could maybe it's content they could use to share to the rest of the world. So it really depends on the purpose there for what you're looking at, for what a successful campaign would be. But if I think in terms of campaign, if you use the word campaign or a promotion, I think an ad. And so an ad, for example, would have a very different structure than, say, for example, a content video that's purely there for building a relationship.
Yeah, sure. That's fantastic advice. And again, so important for entrepreneurs to think about their whole funnel. I love it how you say that video is really an amazing channel to use right through the funnel, from the top, which really just building new relationships all the way through, as you say, even after onboarding. But just to really think carefully through the whole funnel and design the videos at those different levels accordingly. So I really love that. Where video is one of those great tools which you can really use for all of it, but important to apply your mind and to strategize around that. Now, the channels, it seems like channels are quite sort of saturated with videos. It feels like that, and attention spans are quite short. So I guess we're talking a bit more top of funnel videos here. I guess if we get more bottom of funnels, those clients who've been with us, they know us already. It might be easier for them to consume information. But I guess more top of funnel, the market is quite saturated. What would your advice be to make videos really stand out, for entrepreneurs without the large cost of professional editing?
Oh, there's many things you can do to stand out, and it doesn't have to be expensive. You can, the more creative you are, the less expensive it has to be, right? Quite often. Yeah. But there's, I think it's possibly a trap to think that you can create one video that's going to change everything. I think that's a trap. A much better way to look at it is consistency over time. Having a consistent message, a consistent strategy where you consistently publish content over time to build relationships and to build an audience. And you might get lucky. One of them or two of them might go viral, or a lot of them might go viral, but none of them might go viral. But through having a consistent strategy like that, over time, you build an audience, you build a following. And, I've been interviewing people for the last 14 years, and I've been doing this myself as well. And I just can't say how true that is. That is just, I can't have enough emphasis to say how true that is to be consistent. And so you don't necessarily, put it this way. One way to stand out is for you to be consistent, because that's surprisingly hard. That's surprisingly hard to do because life gets in the way. Other priorities creep in, and then you go, I'll shift this video to next week or next month or whatever. But when you commit to a regular content creation strategy and content submission strategy, I think that's when things really start changing for you. And it's like a snowball, it starts really slow at the beginning. And then at one point, there's a breakthrough point where this thing just starts building momentum on its own and starts rolling itself and just get bigger and bigger. And you see this time and time again where, at the beginning of people's careers, it's like nothing, no views, nothing. And they work sometimes for a year, 2 years. And then all of a sudden, there's a breakthrough. And then their growth just goes hockey stick. So I think that's something really worth knowing and knowing about, because and it's also very encouraging because it means that you don't have to necessarily be all that fancy and extravagant and trying to get people's attention. You just have to be there and serve people and look for ways that you can help them over time, and you do that consistently over time. people get to know you. They start talking. They tell their friends, and that's how you build your brand. That's how you build your business. That's how you build your audience.
Yeah, wow. That's actually sort of plays, very nicely into the next question, where I really wanted to ask you about sort of organic versus paid marketing. And I guess you sort of touched on a very big point in terms of organic marketing already. But I mean, is there really, let's talk organic first, is there really a way to fast track the process, or is it, as you say, I mean, actually standing out means to be consistent? And if you can just carry on, it is a long-term strategy, but it is, so don't expect fast results. Produce good content, but over time that will work.
Yeah, I mean, there's always little shortcuts, right? I mean, I'd always look for leverage points. Where can you leverage your time? Where can you leverage your money? Where can you leverage your resources? And for example, that's why we set up Splashio. We wanted to create a leverage point for our audience where they're good on camera and they're good at creating messages, but they hate the production side. So we come in and say, hey, we'll take care of that for you, so that we create a leverage point for them. And they go, okay, great. I don't have to worry about doing that anymore. It just gets taken care of. So definitely look for leverage points throughout any of it. Sorry, Pierre, can you just repeat the question again? I just lost my train of thought there.
No, sure. Just
the question.
Yeah, it's kind of just echoing on what you said already. I mean, the question that I wanted to ask you before you, kind of answered it already is, in terms of organic marketing, thinking about entrepreneurs in these times that might be cash strapped, I think organic marketing might be, more reachable for them, but it does take time. So the question is just, is there a way to fast track organic marketing, or is it just about being consistent and being out there?
Got it. So are there any shortcuts? That's basically the question. Right. So the short answer to shortcuts is look for leverage points. And so there are leverage points. I don't really believe in shortcuts, but I believe in leverage. So they shortcuts give you a short-term gain. Leverage give you a long-term gain. So building systems, for example, that's building leverage within your business. If you've got things, you can systemize the whole video production process, or whatever process you have in your business, systemize the whole thing so it can get done over and over, exactly the same, without you thinking about it. Other shortcuts or leverage points, probably a better way of looking at it is to look at content as something that you can grow either organically or through other means. And there's at least two other ways you can grow it. One is through paid advertising, so you can run ads to your content. And the other way is through influencer marketing, where you do basically collaborations with other people who already have access to your target audience, and you do some sort of a collaboration with them so that your content can get shown to that audience. It was one of the biggest strategies for growth on YouTube while I was really active in there about 10 years ago now. The best growth we had was when we teamed up with other big channels, and we did something together, and we'd get immediate access to that audience. It was just like we would basically, one example is where we did an interview with someone, and then it was in the magic niche, and then they ended up publishing that video on their channel. They had 30,000 subscribers at the time, and they linked back to our little channel, which only had like 100 subscribers, and instantly we had access to 30,000 people exactly targeted for our business. So collaborations like that can be really, really powerful. But the other way is if you don't have because it takes time, right? Building these relationships with collaborators or joint venture partners or whatever you want to call them. But if you do have some money, you can speed that up and run ads to your content if you want to. But it's debatable how successful that is. Depends on the industry. Depends on how well your system and your funnel is set up. And so you also don't want to just throw money down the drain. But certainly, if you can run ads to your YouTube channel and get subscribers. You could run ads to your YouTube videos and get more views, etc. So but there's a debate going on. It's been going on for a long time. If you run ads to your content on YouTube, for example, does that hurt your organic reach? Because YouTube might go, hey, these guys, they've got money, so we don't have to give them organic reach. They can do it with money, So but I don't know what the answer is to that. But the options are there at least. If you are maybe a bit impatient, to look for those kind of leverage points.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I think great ideas for entrepreneurs on the organic side. But then, especially on the paid side, I mean, would you, in your experience again, and I know it depends on the type of industry that you're in and so on, but would you say there's sort of certain video platforms to focus on, to sort of focus your ad spend? I'm talking about paid ads now specifically. Or would you say the strategy is rather to go a little bit wider, try to get as much content out there over time, and for that to start a snowball? Or would you say, or do you find there's certain platforms that works better than others?
Okay, so this answer really depends on where you're at in your business. If you're just starting out, I would highly, highly recommend you pick one. You pick one channel, whether it's paid or organic or with joint ventures or collaborations. You pick one. You pick one method for growth. So maybe you decide that YouTube is going to be your vehicle for growth, and then what you do is you just focus on that like a bulldog, and you don't let go until you succeed. And that's really important at the beginning when your resources are stretched thin. The only way for you to succeed is to be like a laser, to focus all your attention into one area. And if you try and do too many things, you just spread yourself too thin, and you don't have any impact. And you can't grow, and it's very frustrating. So at the beginning, when you're low on resources, you got to focus. Pick one: YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever it is, or if it's paid, even with paid. Like with any of them, there's like many different options. So for example, in paid, you can decide, do you want to do Google ads? Do you want to do YouTube ads? Do you want to do Facebook ads? Do you want to do LinkedIn ads, Twitter ads? Pick one and become really, really good at it before you move into the next one. Now, if you're further along in your business and you've got more resources, then I still recommend focus, but you can have multiple people focusing on different disciplines. So you could, for example, have someone, their pure focus is on YouTube ads. Then there's another person, their pure focus is on YouTube organic. You can be as granular as that, and etc. You can have someone who's all they do all day long is looking at Facebook image and text-based ads. Then you can have someone that's their focus is on just video ads on Facebook. So, but again, having that focus there and mastering it before you move on to anything next, and making sure you've got enough resources, you don't spread yourself too thin.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Focus is the key in so many areas of our entrepreneurial journey, and especially when it comes to also directing our hard-earned advertising spend. So thanks for that. Gideon, we're sort of coming closer to the end. Is there any sort of last marketing advice that you can give to entrepreneurs in this time? Again, very different depending on where they're at in terms of their size, just where we are now currently in the world. Sort of any last nuggets or pieces of wisdom that you can give to our audience when it comes to growing their business and marketing themselves, whether it's in the video arena where you play or just in general?
Yeah, for sure. I think something that just comes to mind now is learning how to say no. As an entrepreneur and as someone who's driven by this search for significance and for worthiness, we are often wired to want to please others and to win their favor and to win their approval. That's oftentimes why we become entrepreneurs. It's not the case for everybody, but certainly for me, I know that's been an internal unconscious drive for me that's now become conscious, which is really useful that I know about it. But when you know that, you realize that you become a people pleaser, and you want to please everybody, and you want to say yes to everybody. And I know for a fact, and you might have heard this when you try and please everybody, you end up not pleasing anybody at all, and you just burn yourself out. So I think learning to say no, but it's not just saying, I just say no to everything kind of thing. It's becoming really clear on your values, and knowing that if there's an activity or a project or whatever it is that comes across your path and is not aligned with your values, and you're not clear on your values, it's going to distract you. You've got to get clear on your values, so that when those things come on your path, you can instantly say this is a yes or this is a no, instead of saying yes to everything, and then just applying that throughout your whole business. Saying no more often than yes, and that will allow you to focus. So if you're starting out and you're trying out Facebook ads and YouTube ads, and you're trying to grow organically on LinkedIn, you have to make a decision. Maybe you say no to the two that are not working as well, or the two that are drawing out your energy, and you just pick the one that and say yes to just one of them that are giving you energy, and that is has a much better chance of succeeding, and just focusing on it like a laser. So I think that would be probably the biggest advice I can give. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sure. And I love that because it almost touches again on where we started this conversation, where it's really starting to look internally and figure out our values as entrepreneurs and really then living from that space. I guess serving the world from that space and making decisions from that space. And that really will help us to get a lot of clarity and make the right decisions. Gideon, lastly, tell us more about Splashio, what you're currently busy with, and where our audience can go to see more of Splashio and engage with your content.
Yeah, sure thing. And thanks for that. So Splashio, I created Splashio basically for myself. I got sick of doing video editing and adding captions to my videos and stuff like that. It was just too painful and too slow. So I thought, let's just create a team of people that can do this for us. And we ended up, getting clients for that and started serving other people. But basically, if you want to build a content strategy and you're creating a lot of video, or if you just want to tip your toes, and this is really an incredible way to do that, because it just helps you remove the video production side out of the way, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. You just create the content, either you or someone in your team, and then you push it through Splasheocom, and the next day it's ready to publish on social media. Here's the website. You can find out a bit more about that. Currently, we've got a free trial going. You can get your first 4 videos done for free, and then it's $99 after that, US, after 7 days. But those first 4 videos are 100% free. You can cancel anytime you want. You can even cancel before the trial is up, and you don't have to pay. You keep those credits. But you can take a bit more of a look here. If you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see some more examples of the sort of videos we create. Here's one from Oren Clough. You can see how we've added the headline there, the video there, progress bar, captions down the bottom. It looks really cool. It helps just get attention. There's another one we did here for Russ Ruffino. He's really well known in the coaching industry. Bunch of different people. Justin Brown, he's one of my friends here on the Sunshine Coast. He's doing really well on YouTube. He's actually one of those guys that just kept on pushing and pushing and pushing. Eventually just went crazy. He's getting I think close to 900,000 subscribers on YouTube now. He's just completely crushing it. So you can check out some examples there. These are just in square format, but we do landscape and portrait as well, all the different social media platforms. And you see a bunch of people here that's using us and recommending our service. But yeah, check it out, Splasheocom, and sign up for the free trial. And looking forward to helping you guys create amazing videos.
Oh, fantastic. That's such a great solution. I think it's going to help so many entrepreneurs just to remove that admin, as you say, in the editing process, to be able to focus on what is important. So yeah, really well done. It's a fantastic solution. Gideon, thank you so much for your time and your insights. I believe you really provided inspiration today and sparked some new ideas for entrepreneurs really looking to grow to the next level in these times. For our audience, make sure to go and check out the Splashy resources, which we will also put in the show notes. I want to encourage you as always to take action. Take those first steps. Go check out Splashy and take those first steps towards your next video campaign. I think we'll see you guys next time. Cheers.
Thank you.
If you want to ensure that you get free access to the entire series of content and interviews, plus more tips, tools, and tricks to grow your business, be sure to join our free Facebook group, Get More Customers. You will find a link in the description or show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the love button depending on which platform you use. This will really help us to get this message out to more entrepreneurs. We would also love to hear from you, so please engage with us and reply. What business are you in, or which speakers would you love to hear on the show? See you next time. Cheers.